What's up, GameLeap? This is Code Cheeks, otherwise known as the Jizz, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the changes that are currently on the PBE for patch 12.6. So 12.5 just dropped today, but we're talking about changes already in the future. So what we're going to do, we are going to reveal these changes to you and then talk about their potential impact on the Rift, to the meta, to the champions. So make sure you stick around for the whole video so you do not miss any of this crucial information, and also make sure if you want to master any of the champions in this game, if you want to master a role, if you want to perfect your micro and macro, we have so many videos uploaded to our website that are exclusive for our subscribers that help them reach their peak performance on the Rift. So make sure you guys join the club by signing up. The links are in the description and comment section, and let's get into the 12.6 changes on the PBE. So all of these changes revolve around items and runes, and we're going to start by talking about all the potential item changes that might hit the Rift in 12.6. So the first one we're going to talk about is the change coming into Vampiric Scepter. So what the balance team are looking to do, well, they've reduced the lifesteal from the item by 2%. So it's down from 10% to 8%. This means that for champions who are going Shield Bow, Blade of the Rune King first, this item is giving them less lifesteal for the laning phase. So champions like Aurelia, Vayne, Graves, these champions who really benefit from the lifesteal, their laning phase is going to be a little bit worse, but to be honest, the item is still costing 900 gold, and even though you're getting a little bit less lifesteal, it's still serving the purpose of giving you enough during the laning phase, so not much is going to change. But there are 3 items the Vamp Scepter builds into that are getting changed in 12.6, and this is probably the most important part of this video. So it's time to listen up and engage the ears. So first off, let's talk about Bloodthirster. So what Riot are doing, they're increasing the attack damage from the item up by 5, so from 55 to 60, and this increase is valued at around 12 in terms of gold. So it's not the most drastic of buffs we've seen, but the reason this buff is here is because of the Vamp Scepter nerf, and in Bloodthirster, this decrease in lifesteal is scaling from 2% all the way to 5%. So now you're getting 15% overall, and this 5% drop has around a 19 gold value. So overall, this is a nerf to Bloodthirster. But what's still good about Bloodthirster is of course the shield, and with the extra attack damage, you'll actually be hitting harder. So therefore, you'll be lifestealing a little bit more, but it's probably not going to be the same value as it was before. So this is a bit of a hit to champions who might consider building Bloodthirster. So Graves, Samira, lots of the AD carries, but it's still going to be a viable item. But another legendary item the Riot Balance team is going to nerf in 12.6 is Blade of the Rune King, and this is just feeding off that Vamp Scepter nerf. So the Vamp Scepter nerf losing 2% in terms of lifesteal, that is the same as Blade of the Rune King. And for Blade of the Rune King abusers, so we're talking Aurelia, Vayne, maybe even champions like Set, Renekton, of course they won't be stealing as much HP as before, but the good news is that Bork, to be honest, is still going to be in a good position, especially since they buffed the on-hit damage by 2% back in 12.3. And even though the lifesteal in Bork is nice, you're really getting this item to shred tanks and for the DPS. For sure, getting some HP back every time you attack, it's nice, there's no doubt about it. But that's about it. It's not the full power of the item, and a 2% drop off in lifesteal, this is not going to be the end of the world. Now, talking about a 2% drop in lifesteal, let's talk about Immortal Shield Bow, the mythic item the Riot are changing for 12.6, and these changes are very interesting. So we still have the 2% drop off in lifesteal, down from 10% to 8%. So in terms of lifestealing back up to full HP, you might see this a little less, but you're still going to be recovering enough HP for it to still be worth it. But Riot are giving Shield Bow a compensation buff. So what they're doing, they're increasing the mythic passive HP by 20, so from 50 to 70. So for each major item you have in your inventory, when you buy Shield Bow, you're getting another 20 HP from the item. So when you have your full build, this will equate to an extra 80 HP. This is actually big, especially in lower elos, because games tend to last a little bit longer, so you will be accessing all of this new power in the buff Shield Bow mythic passive. So the trade-off is you're losing lifesteal, but you're gaining HP from the item now, and to be honest, for AD carries in particular, this is going to make them harder to kill while still possessing all the offensive power they need. So champions like Samira, Vayne, Kalista, maybe Draven, any champion who wants to build this iteration of Shield Bow, it's not like you're going to miss out on kills that you weren't getting before. You're still going to get all of them, but you're probably going to survive even more because of the extra HP. And I'd love to know what you guys think of this Shield Bow change in the comments. Now moving on here, we have 3 runes to talk about, and to be honest, these could be the biggest changes of the bunch. So we're going to start by talking about Ravenous Hunter. So what Riot are doing, get this, they're removing it. Well, they're actually replacing it by something called Treasure Hunter. Sounds like something of Pirates of the Caribbean. But this new rune, instead of giving you Omni-Vamp after you get your takedowns, it's giving you 20 gold for killing each enemy champion once, so you're getting 100 gold in total, because there's 5 enemy champions. But here's the problem with this. This isn't going to be that beneficial for anyone, to be honest, like any champion, any role. Because how often is it you're going to kill 5 enemy champions, let's say by 10 minutes? You're probably going to be doing this around 20, 25, 30 minutes, and by this point 100 gold, it isn't going to be that meaningful and have a big sway in the outcome of a game. Whereas if we think about Ravenous Hunter getting Omni-Vamp, this is going to be there the whole game, you know? So with the new Treasure Hunter, you might be able to get your items a little bit quicker, but that's about it. For a rune that's competing with Relentless Hunter, Ultimate Hunter, and even Ingenious Hunter, this one looks really underpowered. So I don't know if Riot are going to buff the gold each takedown is going to give you, but I certainly think they have to for this to be able to compete with the other runes in the domination tree. And again, I'd love to know what you guys think of this new rune in the comments. Now we've got 2 more changes to talk about here, guys, and if you do enjoy these Season 12 updates where we fill you in on all the changes that Riot are thinking of bringing to the Rift, let us know by smashing that like button. And the last of the 2 runes we have to talk about, well, this one is a keystone and this is Footwork. So ever since Riot buffed this towards the end of Season 11, think of champions like Jhin, think of champions like Senna and Graves, they've kind of been dominating. I mean, especially this season. So what Riot are doing, they are reverting the 11-17 buff. So the AD and AP ratio for the heal on your fleet attack. So for the AD, it's back to 0.3, and for the AP, it's back to 0.2. So those champions I just mentioned in particular, Jhin, Senna, Graves, these champions are not going to benefit as much from the scaling in fleet. Now the base steal is still starting from 10 and ramping up throughout a game. So don't get me wrong, this keystone is still going to be good, and to be honest, it's still going to be the best for these champions. It's just you're not going to be healing that much from it as you start scaling into a game and getting attack damage from your items. So this is definitely a nerf to fleet Footwork, but to be honest, it still looks viable, so there shouldn't really be that much worry here. Now the last rune change we have to talk about is kind of a big one, but I don't think it's really going to change that much in terms of how much it's going to get picked. So this rune is in the precision tree, and this is Bloodline. So what's happening? Instead of getting 0.6% lifesteal per stack, it's going down to 4%, so at max stacks, you're losing 3%. Now this in terms of gold value is around 11, so it's not the biggest thing, but what Riot are doing, you are going to gain over 250 in gold value because you're now getting 100 HP at max stacks. And this is pretty big, and it kind of sounds like the Shield Bow buff. So Riot obviously want champions who need lifesteal and build this and actually use this rune to have a bit more HP. But this also affects champions that run the precision tree generally speaking, especially those top laners running Lethal Tempo and Conqueror. They can get access to this new Bloodline. This extra HP they will definitely be interested in. The only question is it worth giving up Alacrity or Tenacity for the new Bloodline? Because it will take time to get to this point of the game, and unless you are building lifesteal like Aurelia, Graves, it still doesn't sound too red hot. What do you guys think? Is Bloodline going to take over the meta because of this change? Will this change even make it be used? Because I can't think of a champion off the top of my head who even uses this rune at the moment. So let me know in the comments, guys, your thoughts on all of these changes, and make sure if you haven't already to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future daily Season 12 uploads. And until tomorrow's daily Season 12 upload, this has been Coach. Peace.